This is module 4, lesson 1. Okay, so we are in our fourth module in which we are going to learn practical behavior management strategies. Okay, all of the strategies I'm going to share from here on are positive discipline strategies that you can find on those books I shared in the beginning of the course, but mainly I'm going to share them all with you. And we are going to see the positive discipline approach throughout those two lessons in Module 4 and how we can actually take it to the classroom and make it happen. Okay? And after that, we're going to have Module 5, which will be about your own classroom project. Okay? First of all, we need to recall some positive discipline fundamentals, which are first that people need to have a strong sense of belongingness and contribution in order to be encouraged and to behave well, to be kind, to be respectful, to consider and embrace each other. We also have been talking about firmness and kindness. This balance is really important, and we are going to see on this practical tools how firmness and kindness get together. And we also learned that there's a mistaken goal behind all kind of behavior, and they are classified. Sorry, they are classified in 4 different categories: undue attention, misguided power, revenge, and assumed inadequacy. And last, we learned how to balance social and emotional learning and the curriculum. Start with small steps, keep it small, keep it manageable, keep it consistent. Okay? And this is where your own participation on the course starts because we are, as I told you, we are going to learn some practical strategies today and next Tuesday. And what I would like you and the girls who will hear the class audio to do is to choose 2 or more strategies presented during this module 4 and consistently embed them into your routine during the next couple of weeks. So we are going to discuss some today. You can start today. You can start next week because I know you have this big event coming at your school. But try to have them on your routine. You can choose any of them and you can write a journal about how your class's participation and behavior is. You can jot down ideas about changes that might appear in the future and further on their development. You can also jot down some of their opinions, some comments they might make when you introduce the strategies, and identify any feelings you might have, challenges you might face in the next couple of weeks while trying to implement 2 strategies. Okay, so we're gonna see a lot of strategies, and you just need to choose at least 2. But remember to keep it small, keep it manageable, keep it consistent. All right, and the sharing session will be at our course's last class, which is April 6th. Okay. Any questions about this big meeting? Yes. All right then. So, first things first, positive discipline is a routine. It's not something we do one day and then we do another day or we do once a month. It's part of the routine, okay? And here I have 2 pictures and a question. How do you handle behavior? And what I'm about to say, I've already done that. So don't feel like I'm judging you or your teaching methods. But sometimes we handle behavior with an ambulance. So when we see the issue, when we see the big conflict, then then something, a bell rings in our minds. Oh, okay, social and emotion learning, yeah, I should do that. Positive discipline, okay, I'll try that. but it's an emergency situation. When we talk it right back on the beginning of the course about the two brains talking together, when the two brains are not protected by the cortex, when those more primal and instinctive areas are taking the lead of communication, we are biologically, for that moment, unable to reason, to ponder, to consider another person's feelings, and to learn. So, if we keep dealing with behavior with an ambulance and we use all the practical strategies you're going to learn today, always as an ambulance, it won't be effective in the long run. It won't build the social and emotional skills, the lifelong skills, okay? And on the other side, what we are looking forward to is to use positive discipline as vitamin pills, things that you take every day, regardless if you were sick or not, regardless if it's sunny or rainy. You just take your pills because you know that taking those tiny pills every day is going to benefit your body somehow. Okay, so let's think of those strategies we will learn today as those vitamin pills. Okay, here I have the 5 R's of implementing positive discipline as a routine. The first R, and a practical one, is the revision of expectations. So I got here a conflict, a classroom issue as an example. Okay, but you can think of any example that happens with your group. So let's say that we have this group of third graders who are struggling a lot to behave in the library. When they get in the library, they are always very loud, very messy. They do not put books back at their spots. They do not respect the librarian's work. And other kids are studying and using the space, and they are not considering that. So we have a big behavior at the library problem with this group of third graders. What would be the positive discipline routine, the vitamin pills, to help this group? First, the revision of expectations before you get to the library. What's our procedure in the library? You can give me some examples of things we can do, things we cannot. What are we allowed to do in the library? What happens if someone does something that is not allowed in the library? What are we going to do? Who are we going to ask help for? What are we going to say to this person? Then, when you get to the library, when you are physically there, talk to the group. How are you currently doing? Look around you, look at yourselves. How are you doing now? Share the responsibility with the group. How can you improve? And when you leave the library, okay, how was your behavior today? And how can you improve for next week? Focus on the results. What can we achieve? How best can we be at going to the library? And what evidence will we see when we get there? So, what can I see in your attitudes that will show me that you have accomplished this target? And the last R is the most important one, which is repeat, because there's no finish line in positive discipline. It's a cycle. So you go over and over again until you have the skill and consistently developed, because we are talking about brains on ongoing development. Okay? And for all of the practical activities we will see from now on, I'm going to start from the K cells 5 core competencies. Okay, so those 5 core competencies are the same I mentioned in yesterday's class when we talked about planning. All right, so we are always going to look at the activities and see if it's more focused on self awareness, self management, social awareness, relationship skills, or responsible decision making. There will be individual activities for each 5 of them, but there is a very interesting one that embraces all those skills at the same time. And this activity is called class meetings. Okay, it's one of the most powerful positive discipline routines, the class meetings. Okay, the goal of a class meeting is to lead an open discussion about living together in class. What you would need for a class meeting is to have a notebook. It can either be a hardcover or an online one, to write meeting minutes, and, if possible, time to meet twice a week, 20 to 30 minutes. I know, as a specialist teacher, as you are, that might sound impossible because that might be all the time you have with the kids. So you can have the class meetings. I'm going to describe how to have them with your kids. But you can start once a week. You can start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But it's important to start and be consistent. Okay. And also, if you are teaching remotely, you can meet online and use tools such as Padlet and Jamboard to register the meeting minute. Okay, what is a class meeting? First, it's really important that during this moment of discussion about how living together has been, and kids are in a circle, and if they are online, that the screen is set up in a way that everyone sees each other, that they have their cameras on. It's really important to have this face and eye contact during the class meetings. Okay, the class meetings will help us practice compliments and appreciations, accept and respect differences, use respectful communication skills, focus on solutions, role play, brainstorm ideas, use the agenda and organize events, and understand and use the four mistaken goals. Okay. And I brought a video of an actual class meeting happening. So I'm going to describe here some basic four steps, how you start, how you do this activity with your group, but you're also going to see a video. Okay, so you sit in a circle with all of your kids, and during the week, you're going to have your notebook, in which children can choose to jot down some issues that has happened during the week. So let's say that we had a fight in the playground. Okay, there was a fight in the playground, and after solving the fight and calming things down, you can always ask children, "Do you want me to register it in the meeting minute for our class meeting? Would you like to expand this discussion to the class meeting? Do you think it's something that everyone should care about, that everyone should think about? If so, so here's a notebook. You give the notebook to the child, and they can write. If they cannot write yet, they can draw, or the teacher can ask the child to describe what he or she wants to write, and the teacher writes for them. Okay. So when you sit with the kids and when you sit with the notebook at hand, the first thing you do is not to look at those problems. The first thing you're going to do is to practice compliments and appreciation. How does that work? It's interesting to have an object for the speaker because all children will be required to speak. So you can have a star or a teddy bear or a stuffed animal or something. And they are going around, and whoever has that is the speaker. And this is how the class meeting starts. You can either provide a compliment, you can offer a compliment and appreciation, or you can ask for a compliment and appreciation. Okay, so let's say that I am the speaker now. Say, okay, teacher, I want to offer a compliment to Louisa because I noticed that this week she finished her meals, and she usually wastes food in the restaurant, but this week she has been finishing her meals properly. So I would like to share this compliment with Louisa. Okay, or I can either get the speaker's object and say, teacher, I would like to receive a compliment or an appreciation for one of my friends. And then one of the kids in the group or the teacher could tell something about the kid who's the speaker. So this is how the class meeting starts. This is the positive and kind atmosphere a class meeting starts. Then the steps 2 and 3 are to help each other express feelings and problem solving. And this is a moment in which you're going to use the notebook and the problems that are in there. So then you're going to open and say, okay, Maria told me that on Tuesday there was a fight in the playground. She told me how it started. It's really nice not to register the names of people involved, but the actions. Okay, so we do not go judgmental, and the intention here is to reflect on the behavior and the attitudes. So, guys, I see here in our notebook that we had a fight on the playground on Tuesday. This is how it started. This is how it happened. Na 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 na. And I think it's something worth discussing in our class meetings. And it's not a moment for a teacher to, give a speech about not to fight in the playground, but it's a moment for the children to actively participate and share solutions on how not to have those fights in the playground again, or how to avoid those fights, how to react when that thing that started the fight happens again. Okay? And you can write the solutions, you can write their ideas, they can sign at the end if they are older enough. And step 4, plan for any events that might happen in your classroom, any celebrations that you want to have as a group. Okay, the class meeting is important. It's really important that it's in a circle or a position that everyone can see each other. It's essential to make them regularly. The ideal is to have them twice a week for 20 to 30 minutes, but this is not every teacher's reality. But you can have it once a week. You can start with 10 to 15 minutes. If you have a larger group and you do not have time for all the kids to go through appreciation at the beginning, you can sort them alphabetically. For example, today we are going on the appreciation cycle from A to F, and then next week we are going G to M. And so at the end of the month, everyone had the chance to be the speaker at the class meeting. This is a solution if you have a group that is too large and you do not have much time. And when you were talking about the problems that happen, and focus on the 3 R's and 1 U to identify effective solutions. When they hear a problem like people are fighting in the playground, kids will come with the most varied and most creative solutions to solve it. But it's important to look at those solutions and check if they are related to the problem, reasonable, respectful, and useful. If they are those 4 things, then they can be included in a notebook. If the solution is not useful or not respectful or not related to the problem, it cannot be added to the notebook. Okay, you can even have a little chart in your classroom, a little poster with those 3 R's and 1 U, so they remind them before giving ideas. Okay, and I have here a video of a class meeting. And do you have any questions so far, or would you like to see the video and then see if you had questions?
No, it's all good for now.
Yeah? Okay. This is a very good video, this class meeting. So it's very clear. She goes through all the positive discipline steps. Kids are actively participating. Do you have any questions about class meetings?
Just a question. So, for example, since let's suppose elementary kids, I see them 3 times a week. How would I get them to write on the book? because I don't see them that often. So like, do I just tell them, okay, if you want to tell me, just tell me next week, and then I'll write on the book, or
Yeah, you could have the book like placed outside of your classroom by your class door. So if they are passing by, going to the bathroom or to lunch, they can drop it by, get the book like from your door, a little box hanged on your door. They get the book and add something to discuss.
okay,
Okay. They can also tell you, and you can write by yourself as well.
okay, cool,
All right. Now is our break. So we can have like 3 or 5 minutes and then we carry on. Okay? All right. Are you ready to get back? There's a quick break. Tell me when you are ready and then we carry on. Okay? Sorry, I wasn't recording that part. So let's carry on and we're gonna see some more practical positive discipline activities that can be done in schools, and now focusing not all at all of the social and emotional skills together as the class meetings do, but focusing on one at a time. And again, among those strategies, you are going to choose two or at least one to implement in your own classroom and then to present and share your experience on April 6th. Okay, so let's talk about self awareness with an activity called naming and embracing feelings. Okay, the positive discipline approach has a different feelings chart than the traditional one that we used to have. Um, I can only share with you this small version of it because actually it's a paid chart. It's like $1, but there's a license to use. So clicking on this link, you can get the license and then you can print and use it at school and do whatever you want with it. But the goal to use the feelings chart is to embrace any kind of feelings that the child might be experiencing during a conflict. It's a very useful tool for you to apply with the kids at the moment of a conflict, at the moment of a situation. Because the feelings on this chart, they go beyond the traditional sad, angry, happy, excited, or um, they offer the children a broader vocabulary about their own feelings, and therefore, as they are able to name more feelings, they are also able to embrace and recognize those feelings not only on themselves but also on others. So it's a very nice tool to have in class and to use with the children when they are in a conflict, when they are frustrated because of an artwork or frustrated because of a music activity. You can go beyond the frustrated and try to find with that child a feeling that really describes what's going on their minds. Okay? So this will foster the skill of self-awareness. And any questions about it?
no,
No? Okay. Let's talk about responsible decision making. Okay. Positive discipline has a very interesting activity called We Decide. Okay. And this activity, We Decide, is the positive discipline alternative for the traditional class rules. And so we as teachers, we all have rules in our classroom. Sometimes we have this set of rules that are already done and written by the beginning of a school year, and but we decide this activity is a way to have children's participation on establishing the rules. All you need is one slide or a chart. I'm going to show you my slide, and you can project a Jamboard or similar, and we are going to see that uh, when they complete the poster with the agreements, the classroom agreements, you decide on one target agreement to practice during the upcoming week. And you can use, if you are teaching remotely, you can use like Mentimeter or another voting tool that they could vote on the next week's target. Okay, so this is how we do it. We add a title on top of the poster saying, we decide to share, okay? And then we have three different spheres of, of a community, of a school community: safety, learning, and fun. So we share the safety, we share the learning, and we share the fun. And you are going to ask children to add ideas with post-its, sticky notes, or online posts on Jamboard, for example, on how they can share safety, how they can share learning, and how they can share fun as a group. For example, this is something that happened with me last year with my group. In order to share safety, when the schools were reopening in Brazil, the schools reopened a little bit like in middle of September, October. Lots of kids mentioned wearing a mask and sanitizing their hands, washing hands, keeping a distance. So this is one of our agreements, one of our class rules. Okay, then we put on the safety column to share the learning. You should listen to the teacher. You should bring the book to class. You should do your homework, and lots of things concerning the learning. And then also to share the fun. I really like the fun column because it's usually left out and from the traditional class rules. There's no fun in there, but in the positive discipline approach, having fun is kind of a rule. So, yeah, we should share the fun. And how can we share the fun? How can we play? Are we going to have like a monthly celebrations? Are we going to have special Fridays with popcorn and a movie? And what are we going to do for a brain break and to have fun? Okay, and the idea is that teacher guides this process, but the contributions are mostly made by the kids. All right. And when you have your poster ready, when you have contributions for safety, for learning, and for fun, then you vote with the group. You can choose one to keep it like manageable, but if you see that your group is right, you can choose more than one. You can choose one of the agreements. It can be safety, learning, or fun. One of the ideas on those columns, only one, to be the target for the upcoming week. So they are going to respect and they're going to stick to all of the agreements in the poster, but they are going to really make a big effort and put lots of effort on that given one that you voted for. Okay, and then each week you can rotate and vote for a new one. You can also add new agreements to this poster. You can remove some that do not make sense anymore. So it's quite of a flexible classroom rules board. Okay, any questions about it?
No, it's okay.
Right, I left a link here of a Jamboard that you can click and make a copy and use it online if you are teaching remotely or if you are social distancing and kids cannot all touch the same board and the same chart in class. You can project and have an online version at your school. Okay. And also, it's really important again to remember to choose up to three targets if and only if you think your group is ready for three to focus during the upcoming week. All right. Now, looking at the skill of social awareness, and we are going to see an extension of the We Decide activity, which is the agreement's guardians. Okay. And the goal is to share responsibility among pupils and teachers. All you will need is that poster you built in the previous activity. And if you're teaching remote, you can use Jamboard or similar. Okay, so you're going to use the very same board, but now you can add a different title or you can photocopy it. Agreement Guardians. And you are going to split the responsibility of being the guardian for that agreement among the children. Okay, the teacher could also be included. So let's say that we have a sticky note here on safety about wearing masks. So one of the children will be in charge of being the guardian of this agreement to check if people are wearing masks, if they need help with their masks, if they are changing masks. This will be his or her responsibility. If we have an agreement here in fun that says that every Friday we have popcorn and movie, this kid can be responsible for reminding the teacher or for bringing in the popcorn or for asking the school restaurants to prepare the popcorn for the next day. This kid could be responsible for choosing the movie. And we have here in learning um, an agreement about paying attention to the teacher and being a good listener. Then one kid can be responsible of reminding others how to be good listeners or reminding others on how to communicate on a nice voice tone so that it's not disruptive when they're talking to other friends. The idea is that on that chart, the responsibility is shared among all class members, including the teacher. Of course, that as teachers, we are going to feel like we are in charge of making all of them happen, but we can have our name like sorted in only one there. So we are there for the children, and they can see that we are participating in the same level of responsibility as they are. Okay. Any questions about the agreement guardians?
Just a question. So how should I do that with the entire school, or do you think it just works better with younger kids?
Yeah, this could be done with kids of any age. Okay, of course, the depth of the ideas and the shared responsibility will be different. The amount of help and support that you're going to need from an adult will be different. But ideally, according to positive discipline, this is something that can be done uh, throughout the whole across the whole school.
Okay.
All right. And remember to rotate roles every once in a while so that same kid does not stick to the same role, the same responsibility, but rotating is really interesting. Okay, so those are the three practical activities that uh, we have for today. Those are options. You can choose one of them to start trying out of a group, or you can wait for next week to learn some more. And I brought here a very interesting TED talk about a growing up in a traditional educational system and how social and emotional intelligence can be valued or can be underestimated on that context. Okay?
Sorry, I think that's the one I watched before class. I think maybe I watched the wrong one.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, let me show you the
So
one.
the with the girl with her brother has a high IQ, but
Yes,
not a
but
sharp mind.
her
Okay.
okay, the one for actually I thought you were watching this one.
Wait, which one is? Wait. Let's teach for mastery.
Let's
Ah,
teach for
okay.
mastery. Yeah, it was this one. But then you can catch up in the assignments in Google Classroom. Okay?
When did you post that one?
It's on classwork. I have just edited, so
Classwork. I always go only on the streams. There's a whole world here.
yeah, there are many things on classwork. Okay.
Okay, so the ones that I okay, so so I've been just reading, but not like um, I've been opening in from the stream, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't done like
Sending a comment
type.
or registering. Yeah, that's necessary because it's
Oh,
part of the course study hours.
oh shoot, I have to do everything everything again.
No
Okay, that's a
worries.
okay. I found it. Let's teach for mastery, not test scores. Actually, my school, the approach is mastery learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's gonna be very interesting. Okay, so I'll do that for next week then.
That's fantastic. And that's nice that you already watched the other one. And for next class as well, we also have an article, and I left that article on the on classwork in Google.